Steph and I'm an addict. Woo! Right. Thanks. How good's this? It's been amazing. It's been an amazing few days. I arrived on Thursday and had an extra day with my friends and went to the film meeting. Fabulous meeting it was. And then had a bit of fun and a bit of fellowship and a bit of food and tried to just settle myself with my missus and spend some time before the busyness began. Do you know what I mean? So there's always formalities, isn't there? I'm not going to start saying the toilets are to the left. There's no unexpected fire alarm. But thanks to the committee for asking me. This is doing my head in already. For asking me, and it isn't something that I would pick to do. Just so you know, I wasn't like sending my CV down and saying, have you heard this share I done in my bedroom? Going to please listen to it, it's very good. I would like the banquet position. That wasn't what I was trying to do. Actually, with all confidence and connection to a power, I know I can achieve anything that I'm asked to do. However, like I said, it isn't my first choice to do this stuff, but it is a requirement. So, thanks to the committee for putting on this weekend. It's been amazing. I think I totally understand the difficulties. I was part of the Scottish Convention last year. I think mentally I quit the meeting every week. I said, I'm not going back, I'm not going back, I'm not going back. Sick of this person, that person. They were probably saying the same about me. And as long as the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that will tear us apart, all will be well. So the event happened, and we're here, and we're into the last day tomorrow. And regardless of the stuff that we collect, in 2 weeks from now, there's new stuff. And it's away, hopefully. That's why we do this work. And thanks to, I know the delegates are here, so a shout out to the delegates and the trustees. If you don't know who they are, they're sitting like the spiritual mafia. They're like black belts, very, very committed to keeping this service running, this fellowship running, and making sure that we grow and run our books properly and run our service with integrity and principle and not tear ourselves apart with our own pettiness. They'll probably describe it much better than that. So I think that's all the thanks. So now my nerves will start. So why do I come here? My experience is, like everybody's, it's unique. I would like to say that when I arrived as a young man to this old baldy man, like, it's been seamless. I've been clean from the moment I arrived to now, and it's been incredible. It has been incredible, but it's not been seamless for me. For some of my friends it has. My best friend's 32 years clean, so he's not needed to have the experiences that I have. And if you're new or you've not had these experiences, that's okay. You don't need to have them. However, they're mine. I'm not embarrassed, or I won't be ashamed about my own experience, because that's what I bring to the occasion. So I arrived in another fellowship when I was 21. I'm from Scotland, in case you didn't know. I'll try and slow down for, well, the Irish will get me, but maybe every... I will never beat the Irish. I will try and slow down. So I arrived in a fellowship very young. I was broken. My experience is that I was a broken young man. A teenager. I didn't really know how broken I was until I got clean. Because, like, the abnormality was normal to me, like, at a really young age. My home was, as growing up, a young man, like, a mother and a father. I was an only child, so I had no brothers or sisters to look up to or a bond with. I had family members and people in my housing scheme that became like my peers and my friends and the people to look up to. The main influences growing up were school, youth clubs, family members, and friends, really, or just people from my housing estate. I lived in the east end of Glasgow. The kind of life expectancy age in my area was like 54. I'm 54 this year. Bear with me, I hope I make it. Like, the poverty was really bad. And I'm not painting a picture to go, oh, it's such a fucking shame for Steph. It's just trying to give you some context to the upbringing so that you'll see how I smoothly transitioned into drugs. Like, smoothly. Like, couldn't wait. So, my mum drank, my father drank. He was a kind of recovering alcoholic, but not really putting the drink down a lot of the time. He described himself as that, but he was like a drunk alcoholic most of the time. My mum was like his alcoholic drunk partner. And they tried their fucking goddamn best to bring up this boy who they loved dearly, but were, how can they were unable to express that. There was no signs of affection, there was no statements of intent of love, there was no real feelings of camaraderie in my house. There was lots of isolation and detachment and aggression, alcoholic violence, domestic violence, crime, and the extended family. My mum had 6 brothers, 3 sisters. So I kind of grew up looking at them and thinking, what the fuck are you meant to do here, really? Really? My mum's brothers, the things I did with my mum's brothers was I visited them in prison. It was usually a closed visit. So that told you they were up to some shit in prison as well. And my gran and that tried their best. There was I didn't know anything was wrong with that. I was in a scheme, a housing estate where if you weren't like that, you were the kind of odd one out. We were all like that. We fucking loved it. We didn't know anything was wrong. Do you know what I mean? And probably, I don't know, my first experience with drugs, it was either some solvents or some, sorry, I need to check the time before I lose track. 9 o'clock to 10. He's all wait for the DJ. I was like brought up in that housing scheme and I looked up to people and my family was like a really negative, like, family, really. I think back then you called it dysfunctional. I think now we call it traumatized. Next year it might be something different. But like I say, I didn't know there was anything wrong. I just knew I was young, I was awkward, I had curly hair, I had spots, and I didn't know how to talk to the girls. That was about all I knew. And chemicals, solvents, alcohol, cannabis, gateway drugs, if you want to call them, fucking that. I was into all of them. I learned probably as a 12, 13-year-old that I was alcoholic. I was really unmanageable really quickly. My friends were saying things like, you've had too much. It's described in some literature as I knew I hadn't had enough. But they said, you've had too much. I would wake up with carpet burns in my face and like falling asleep in kebabs and stuff like that. And like wake up and go again, really, even as a young boy. The ambition for the country, Maggie Thatcher was in. There was no ambition, really. Like she was first on my resentment list, 10 times. Like there was no real feeling of like, when I look back on hindsight, hope, really. There was no aspiration as a teenager to when a primary, like age 5 or 6, I was like thinking I would like to be in the fire service, I would like to do something that was helping others in really crisis situations. And by 16, I was using every single day. I was unemployed, I'd left school, and I was working on, when I had jobs, it was like working on some like YTS schemes, they were called, training schemes. You get like 27 pound a week, get used as a slave for some builder company. They just criticised you and gave you pennies, really. So when I took drugs, the first experience that mattered was I was sitting round my back, and it's no the best looking back, you know. It's not like posh back gardens with flooring and all that. Like there's like a grass that needed mowed, like 4 poles for people to hang up their washing, and a bin shed, and we'd built a den, like out of wooden doors that we used to all like congregate in as wee guys. And I get this bottle of medicine, like this, like bottle of codeine linked, as it was called. It's a very beautiful opiate. And I proceeded to take some slugs of this medicine. And at that point, I'd learnt that my mum and dad had divorced by this point. My mum had went from being mum and dad to mum and mum. I was a bit confused, to say the least. She's an absolute hero now, but back then I didn't know like what was happening. I was unemployed. My friends were unemployed. I was starting to get involved in crime. It was like you could see, if you were a social worker looking in, there would be red flags getting raised. When you said, so, do you know Stephen McFadden? Yeah, red flag. All his friends are in prison, or they're in children's prisons, so that's where he'll be going. And I took this medicine, and it was like the best. The effect produced at once, it was incredible. I sat in comfort, the dis-ease, the dysfunction, the regret, the remorse, the fear, the terror about my family, the thoughts of what do they think, what will my mum, who's this, who's she, what's that, what about a girlfriend, I'm unemployed, I'm not getting a job. They fucking disappeared. And my back, that was a shithole, looked like I was in Miami. It was like the music in the background. Then I experienced this urge to scratch. And I'm like scratching with this opiate medicine everywhere. I fucking loved it. I felt sick. It was a horrible feeling for about 4 seconds. I started to love that feeling and all. What I learned was all of that feeling was better than what we now call adverse childhood experiences. We call trauma. We call situations that you probably shouldn't have witnessed as a child. When I took this drug, it made it all okay. And I was a teenager. I'm now 54. I know you don't believe that. And if I took that drug tomorrow, it would do the exact fucking same. Because it is designed to do that to a guy like me. So, it went on a bit mental, right? It went homelessness, criminality, rehabs, isolation, loneliness, all of that, like horrible addiction type stuff. And to kind of bring it into context, like, excuse me, I got introduced to another fellowship at 21 via a rehabilitation centre. Back then you could just go to them when you wanted. Now in Scotland you've got to fucking pay for them. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, our government should be paying for them. But you used to go to rehab, and then the rehab said to me, have you heard about being clean and all that? And I'm like clean? Like off everything? Like, no, like, yeah, clean. And I'm like, whoa. But the people in the room that were talking were clean, and they were saying stuff that was engaging me. And they took me out to a meeting at another fellowship, and I think that's my first experience of hope as a young man. I remember thinking, wow, what's going on here? What are these people doing? They're talking about shit that I would tell nobody, and they're like talking in front of everyone, and they're not even embarrassed. See, I used to get embarrassed if I heard you talking. If I heard two guys 2 miles away saying they said lesbian, I would have got embarrassed, because I'd have thought they're talking about my mum, and that means that they're slagging me. I think they call it super sensitive. Again, when you take drugs, when you're super sensitive, they soothe it. The effect produced at once is fucking incredible. So there's lots of stuff going on. So when I get clean at that young age, to drive it forward, I stayed in another fellowship for just one month, 2 months shy of 10 years. I changed my whole life around. It was incredible. I got an education, a job, I had a daughter, I got a house and all these things, and I started to look the world in the eye. I started to travel about, going to conventions and stuff like this, and like being able to like have conversations with a hairdresser. I remember my first experience of going to a hairdresser, and I'm like 4 months clean or something, like in rehab, and I'm going down and I'm like, out for time out, like down in the sunshine, and I'm like, look at me, you know, put on weight, new clothes, going down the west end of Glasgow, and I went into the hairdressers, and then I realised I heard the girl talking, and she was saying, yeah, so where have you been on holiday, and how's the children? And I'm going, I've not been on holiday. Where's the children? I've not got children. Fuck. And I kept thinking, I'm Steph, and I'm an addict, I'm Steph, because that's what I've fucking said for months, every day. Steph, I'm an addict, Steph, do you know what's happened to me? Do you know what's happened? I fucking go to these meetings now and all that, and I'm saying, don't say that. And running parallel to this insanity, my ego is going, I think she fancies you. I can see her looking in the mirror. I actually think she's trying to cut that gentleman's hair a bit faster so that she gets you. Shut up, don't say you're an addict, don't say you're an addict. And then I remember sitting in the chair, and she put the gown thing round me, and I was looking at me, and I just felt shame, tremendous amount of shame. I felt froze in the chair. She went, hi there. I'm like, fucking shit myself, man. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm over visiting friends in the West End. Just fucking big story. Made up some lie and all this, like, fuck. traumatic, like didn't know how to communicate, take the drugs away from me, and I'm like paralysed, crippled with fear, unsure, uncertain. So that's always the case for me. In here we talk about spiritual maladies and all that, but the journey, what happened was, I then relapsed. It was a horrific, I've had 3 relapses. I don't suggest it. I'm going to speak about complacency. They were horrendous, like horrendous. Having had some time, 3 times, just shy of 10 years, 5 years, 4 years. I'm back, my next birthday will be 10 years again. And it's like, but each time, I feel really fortunate to be back, to be honest, because I've lost friends. I've carried best friends' coffins in recovery. 2 mates in the last relapse, both died. One got murdered, shot, dead, and another one died of an overdose, a heart attack, with the same drugs that I was taking. So what I want to do is just fast forward, right, because it's just addiction, and claiming to be in recovery, but not really surrendered the other 5 and 4 years, like sponsoring guys and all that, and like see when people would say, yeah, I'm lit right up with this sponsee and all that, it's like, see watching them, I'm in fire, and I'd think, what? You're lit up? Fucking can't even be bothered listening to mine. That's, if you think that, watch it, because that was part of the shit that I ended up relapsing with. I'd have much better bought a pair of trainers, or a new watch, or went to a gig and spoke about it with my friends, like, than do intensive work with others at that point. So, like I said, I ended up in a bit of a state. I'm going to speak about this. I ended up in a real bad state. I relapsed, like my missus is here, and she said something the other day, like I missed her 10-year anniversary, like share, and I was mad with it. I was fucking mad with it, man. Like, it wasn't, my using wasn't like, oh, you've been clean for years, so be dead sensible. Like, don't use with these people, don't use those drugs, stay away from those guys, they're fucking mental. Like, just take wee bits on a Tuesday and all that. And I did think that might have been the case at 1 second, one time. But the reality was, for 18 months after I picked up my last relapse, I used every single day. Cocaine, crack. I ended up drinking, taking fucking tablets, gabapentins, and fucking street drugs, and like a mess. A mess. I was going to work in my job. I was managing a charity and required to wear a suit and all that, and I was like going to Scottish Parliament I was going to Scottish Parliament and talking to ministers, and like driving at like 105 mile an hour home, snorting lines off a CD to get to this house. And I'd get into this crack house instead of home to my missus, my boy, proper powerless, like love, affection, kindness, everything, all the ingredients for health and wealth were in my home, and I couldn't go there. I would go, I'm going to go home, take a left. And I'd end up in this house, in this estate, and I'd have my suit and all this, and I'd take it all off, all of it. I'd be in my fucking underpants, and my brogues, smoking crack. At a work tap in a kitchen, while I was judging, because I was thinking, look at the state of this place. These guys are fucking filthy. Do you know what I mean? 40 missed calls. There was some things happened during that time that I've had to really work through. I was bitterly ashamed of. Like, my missus did a Find My iPhone because I'd went missing, and she went and got, I'll shout him out, Big John Wilmot. He's a recovered addict from Glasgow, one of my dear friends. And they came on Find My iPhone, like right in to a house. Like, thank God I never adjusted my underpants on. But she came straight into the house, and I'm like, and it's like the house is derelict. And she says, come home. Like, come home. And I couldn't go home. I couldn't go home. I said, fuck off. Like, stop this. Go away. And that happened on numerous occasions during that last stunt. It got to the point where I was that ashamed about my behaviour as a man, because recovery taught me better. So I had moments even in the crack. You get moments where it goes like that. What the fuck are you doing? Get fucking home and sort your shit out. You can do this. And then the addiction would just overwhelm me. And I had moments, I reduced myself to driving. I would drive through, I would go to my dealer's house and I would stay there from 2 o'clock in the day, just sniffing till the shop stop selling alcohol. I'd run over and I'd buy 3 cans of cider. I would drink 3 cans of cider to be able to drive my car home to bring me down, excuse me. And I would drive home as if I was given driving lessons. Middle signal manoeuvre. Like 27 miles an hour. CD and cocaine in the passenger seat, obviously, in case the police came. All the way to my house, I would park round the corner. Kelly could hear my heartbeat from round the corner. I don't know why I was round the corner. It was like, I'd get in the house like a fucking bass drum, boom, 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 boom. And I'd go, and she'd just look and go, oh fuck, here we go. Here we go again. The tragedy of someone in recovery living, the beauty of someone living with such a broken soul. And if you're broke tonight, you can get over it. Look at the room. And if you're in recovery and you're broke, I know that you can also go over that. There's people in this room with lengthy time. Trust me, they've faced as much adversity as me. And they've stayed clean. So they've got over it. So I ended up in a rehab, and I ended up pitiful in a place with guys that were running that, who I'd got clean with all those years ago. And I had to just like eat fucking huge amounts of humble pie and get 60 days away from phone calls, drug dealers, guys telling me they're going to fucking bury me, all of these types of things. My missus had to get a break from me. My child had not to see me. I had to not see my child. My children, I've got a daughter and a boy. So anyway, 20 minutes. The last 9 years, I've worked harder every day, more every day. Like, I love Cocaine Anonymous. I love it with all my heart. I love you guys. Like, I look out and there's people here who I don't know, they're just friends yet to know, but there's people here who I've got to know. There's people here who I'm super close with, and there's people here who I'm extremely friendly with, and everybody else I feel a sense of love towards, because the courage I know that it's taken me, I also know that uniquely it's taken all you the exact same courage. I do feel that. I do feel a sense of unity. I do feel a sense of strength. I do feel a sense of love, courage, power, connection. Everything that I need happens to me when I arrive in Cocaine Anonymous. It really does. And I've not, for the last 9 years, felt once that I don't want to be in the meeting. I've been irritated, obviously. There's some absolute bampots like me. They're actually saying, you're one. So I've been irritated, but I've never not wanted to be there. I felt relieved and happy and able to do service if asked. That's why I'm also here, because my power decided that that's what I was to do. Nothing to do with me. So I got a new sponsor, and he started talking like, yeah, I was in a big book group for years. I know pages and paragraphs and full stops and appendix, and yeah, go to this page and that page, and I could talk like, I used to say I was Steph McFadden, recovered addict, and all of these things, and so all my friends are all that type of group. So I know the big book. I had to go and get somebody who was willing to give me an experience with the book again, but also give me a greater experience of love and compassion and kindness, and be gentle and realise that we all hold the unique answers to our own fucking problems. I don't need spoke down to. I didn't need told what to do every day. I didn't need a script of things to do. I already knew what most of them were. I needed a deep surrender that this was a new way of life that I was absolutely going to believe in. I did all the fundamental, I joined a group. I went to my sponsor's house, I did step work, we read books, we did step 3 prayers, I did a step 4 sheet, and I remember this was the first kind of shift with me and my sponsor. I was going, yeah, I'm selfish and self-centered and I'm dishonest, and he's like that. He's like, many of the things, if you go to resentments, he just celebrated 22 years the other day, my sponsor. He says, many of the resentments have you got in that sheet? And I'm like, about 4 sheets, 5 sheets. He's like, right, we know you're fucking selfish. We know you're dishonest. Like, I can't listen to you, like, just ripping that out, because I'd became so processed in the steps. Kelly, after a relapse, was waiting in the step 9, because I was that good at doing it. But it meant fuck all to me. So this time it had to mean something. It had to matter. The journey from my head to my heart happened on my first month. The surrender that happened in my first month has propelled me every single day since then. Every day. So I went through this, and he says to me, there was a resentment about how I'd relapsed, and my best friends in recovery didn't come and save me every day. Now, once you're in recovery a while, you realise that he's mental. He's just going to ask me for money. He's going to talk shit. He's going to rationalise and justify everything. He's not going to listen to a word I say, so it's okay to ignore his phone call every now and again. Which they duly did. In my head, how dare they? I've made tea at that group for fucking years. And they're not phoning me. And then I'd phone at like 4 in the morning and say, could you transfer 100 quid into my bank? I made financial amends to everybody. I even stole the 7th at a group, for fuck's sake. I made financial amends for that all. I was ruthless. But the guy said to me, my sponsor, so tell me how you feel about that. And I'm like, selfish, dishonest, he's like, no, how do you feel? I'm like, we got to do all this feeling shit now, man. He's like, you really need to start to understand your feelings a wee bit more, Steph. You need to understand that this isn't just a tick box exercise, this life, this recovery game. And I'm not having a dig at anybody, I'm just sharing my shit. Trust me, I'm on there. And I started to learn a wee bit more organically and move a wee bit more smoothly and surrender a wee bit more gently and look at the world a wee bit more differently. And I didn't rush home and make a step 9 to my missus. It was a few years actually, and we were at a retreat, because actually what it says is a much more important demonstration of these principles lies ahead. So see, when my missus was talking to me, my missus got 2 chronic illnesses. She didn't speak about them a day when she was sharing, so she's often in a lot of pain, and she would come home from work and she would want to speak, and I'd come home from my job and I'd want to watch Sky Sports on loop for the 18th time. And Kelly would speak and I would like look as if, like, do I need to put this on pause? It's fucking outrageous, actually. So I had to realise that my behaviour had been outrageous, pardon my language, outrageous in my home, to a woman who loved me dearly, every single, see my last relapse, she was changing nappies for me. I had fucking nappies on, and she was changing them. And I'm like inconsiderate. I had to really see the deep-rooted issues that were going on for me in my relationship, and how I treated the most important woman out with my mum at that time in my life. I had to change that, I had to show that change, I had to demonstrate that change before I went and said, can we make an appointment for a step 9, please? And I've tried to do that ever since, and I think we're getting there. And I made an amends at a retreat. We were in a wee chapel, and a few years later I made an amends, and it was lovely. And it was meant to work like that. Because a way of life that's undescribably wonderful needs to be evidenced by my actions. Because I can go, yeah, I'm freed up. Yeah, I'm freed up. I've not been out the house in a month. I'm freed up. I'm totally freed up. There's nothing that I don't do. No, I go everywhere. I go to football matches, I go to boxing nights, I go to rave nights, I go to fucking weddings, christenings, funerals, conventions. I work in 2 jobs, I go to the gym, I meditate, I pray. I do everything with energy and enthusiasm, the desperation of a drowning man, with a smile on my face as well. I try to achieve, that's been the last few years, I'm trying to achieve the smile on my face. Because I'm that serious, I forget to laugh. So I went through the steps and I've did what it says. So what happened for me was complacency. I got complacent. I would be in recovery and I would have a great life. And I would start to dismantle it, because it get boring. I would get bored. I'd get bored at my nut. I'd been in here till I was 21. I had fucking curly hair and all that when I arrived. I didn't have glasses. Now I'm baldy and specky. You know what I mean? It's like, it's monotonous. It's a grind. It became a fucking slog. It's not been like that. And in the last 9 years, I've witnessed some of the most, my biggest fears on my sheets all over the years. My biggest fear on my sheet was my mum dying. By the way, happy Mother's Day tomorrow to all the mothers. Really. My mum became, in my recovery, I went from resenting my mum to my mum being my absolute hero. She was incredible. I can't believe she's gay and she's told everybody and I'm only 14. I felt in recovery, imagine the courage my mum had to speak about her own true life in a housing estate at a time that was incredibly difficult. And the woman became like she was mental, right? She became a much better woman when she became a gran, but she became my absolute hero. Me and my mum were like super tight. I visited her house every week. Recovery taught me that for 20 odd years. I was there every week. I took my children there. I appreciated the hardship she's went through to provide for me and for others. I appreciated the love she showed me. I appreciated the fact that if I fell out with my partner or I had a disagreement, I could just go to her couch and watch TV, and she'd say, "Are you okay?" And I'd say, "Yeah, ma." And she'd say, "Do you want money?" "Do you need money?" And I'd go, "No, okay. Do you just want to sit there?" And I'd go, "Yeah, I just want to sit here." And she'd go, "Okay, just sit there." And I just hang about my mass. And I loved the woman like with all my heart. She was my best friend, and she died by COVID 4 years ago, wherever it is, 5 years next month. She was in the first month to die. She'd overcame cancer 6 months before it. And we thought, my ma said she was getting the cancer treatment, and the woman said, "I don't know if your mum will make this." And she said, "What did she say?" What like you say, Kelly? She was fucking incredible. She said, "I will. This cancer's in the wrong body. It's not beating me." And she overcame it, and then that COVID caught her. And she went, within a second, she was in the hospital, and I was the only person in the whole ward. Me, 26 people with COVID, and my mum. And I was all fucking biohazarded, sewn and all that. And I had to just sit there for a couple of days and let my mum hold my hand. My sponsor had taught me that in God's world, nothing happens by mistake. So what happens to me in recovery is that there's moments that are really powerful, that have shaped my emotional, spiritual, mental health. And that day really shaped my well-being for the future, and chipped away at making me a better man, and a better son, and a better father, and a better partner, and a better guy in this fellowship. Like, he told me, just put your hand out and let your mum take it, because she was struggling for breath and all that, and she was getting a bit disorientated. And I just put my hand out, and my mum would take my hand, and she would hold on tight. And there was not one moment during the whole time that I was saying things like, "Just stay here, mum, for your grandchildren," or "Just stay here for me, I need you to fight, I need you to..." I just held my hand out and told her that I loved her. I was so glad that we'd had so much good times together. I was really grateful for her being a good gran. I'm really sorry that Diane, your partner, can't be here, or Kelly, or Jack, or Ainsley, my daughter. But I'm here, and I love you. And I went home that night, and she passed away just as I went home. And it's been the toughest thing in my entire life. But not one moment, there isn't one moment, I've dug deeper. My mum's funeral, the next day I was doing work with others. I was at a meeting that night, COVID was on, I was on Zoom crying. And I represented my mum at her funeral, a COVID fucking funeral, while the Tories were partying. I wasn't allowed to have a fucking hearse. So they went on my disturbance list again. You Tory bastards. Sorry if you're a Tory. It's a Scottish thing, sorry. So I've learned, what I'm trying to say is, I've got 3 minutes left. I'm trying to say what happened was, for me, like all the things that I felt I couldn't face, I've faced. And a couple of years ago, me and Kelly were having some difficulties as well, and we had to work through that stuff. We both had to find our own supports and bring ourselves back together again, and I had to give myself a shake. And that's when I started on a different journey, looking at my emotional well-being, my emotional sobriety, my connection with God, and trusting a power with everything, my whole life, and seeing that the evidence was really clear, that it was absolutely laid out like a map, and it had been that way my whole life. And it was like that every day. Like, there was nothing for me to be afraid of. There was nothing for me to be scared of. During this weekend, I've had moments where it's been like, you're speaking, and it's after the fucking banquet, mate. Like, everybody's going to be judging you. I was a programme chair in Scotland last year, right? And it's the most scrutinised job in the fucking world, right? Nobody cares about the DJ or the fucking reception or about the hey, who's sharing? Who said he was to share and all that? How long's he been coming? Is he done a step 9? And it's like, fuck's sake, man. He's asked me to do a job. I'm trying to do it. Just trying my best here. Fucking don't get paid for this, by the way, just in case you don't know. You want to fuck off and give me peace? Or I'll no come back. And then you realise, I fucking need to come back. But what's happened during all my experiences is I started to look at my connection with God. And I'm like, my higher power or connection with God's like Tesco. It's like been passing me by on the trolley. And I'm like, right, give me that bit out of the Christianity bit. And give me that bit out of the kind of Ramadan and all that. I'm doing Ramadan. I've been fasting. I've got 1 day left. I'm doing Lent and all. I'm calling it Ramalent. Hashtag Ramalent. I'm fucking off my nothing in half measures. But I took a wee bit of all of it. I've tried to be a Christian. I've tried really hard to be a Christian. Some of my friends are Christians, and I've tried to be a Christian. I went to every fucking Christian course you could go to. But I swear, I'm prone to look at dirty things now and again. Sorry, shoot me. Clock your own reviews, guys. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm flawed. I'm no good at this all the time. I get it wrong. I get uptight. I get impatient. I've shouted at my children when I shouldn't. I fell out with my partner. I've been uptight with my friends. I've got resentment in the fellowship. There's things that annoy me. So I've had to see this connection and really trust this connection with a power. So deep down in every man, woman and child, the big book says is the fundamental idea of God. So that idea had to be noticed, recognised and enlarged upon. So how do I enlarge upon it? I need to work in an area of meditation every morning, dedicated time. So this is like the fundamentals. We all know this. We know, mate. Like, so I get up early in the morning, I do a meditation, I do a writing, 2-way prayer. I listen to song. I sometimes sing along to it. Now, people send me songs and I just play them. I don't say, oh, I wonder if he's a Christian. I wonder if that's going to mention Jesus or Allah or Muhammad. I just play it and just take it. It's God's will. The branches of the sects or the forms of religion in my mind. So the branches is the Jesus and the Muhammads and the Allahs and the prophets and the fucking Sikhs and all these different versions. And the trunk's what I'm tuning into. I'm into all these guys, Daz. I'm into the bigger man, the real God that's within us all. That connection has helped me to face all my fears, all of them. They've fell from the I can look the world in the eye. I can look the world in the eye, everywhere I go. And I'll finish with, I work in a community that's with poverty. I work a few jobs, but my main job is I'm a manager in a charity that works in a place that's really poor. 1 in 2 children are experiencing child poverty in Govan in Glasgow, where the shipyards are. The whole community is really fucked, right? And in the local schools, there's 31 different languages in a local primary school. It's one of the most culturally diverse communities in Scotland. And my job has been, God has demonstrated through me and placed me in a position where I'm able to meet these frightened individuals from all over the world, and I'm there to meet them with a big open heart and understanding. I look them in the eye and know that the world doesn't belong to anybody, my darling. The world's just been gave borders. It doesn't belong to anybody. It just doesn't. It's fucking everybody's world. We're all brothers and sisters. The divides are made up to make us angry. There isn't any divides. We prove that in this fellowship every single day. Every day. This fellowship's in places where there's fucking war and people are coming together and hugging each other. So it's like, we know that we can overcome any adversity with love, kindness, compassion, consideration. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done, man.